hot when we got in here. We'll be back on Friday. Pregame at 5, tip at 6 as the Blazers.
Well, I'll tell you what a bummer as the Portland Trailblazers dropped their second straight game in OKC against the Thunder tonight. And the Blazers just couldn't do the things that we talked about before the game to be able to go out there and make it right. And tonight they dropped the game by a final score of 101-98. The Blazers not strong down the stretch. The Thunder able to close out the third quarter on a nice little push. And the Thunder made all the right plays at the end of the game to get this victory tonight. And the Trailblazers, shame on them for not being the aggressors tonight. The Thunder in the first game on Monday had a plus 15 advantage at the foul line. And that's because the Thunder, no one attacks the hoop in basketball more than they do. And they did a great job on Monday of being the aggressor, getting to the foul line, taking advantage of those opportunities, and then leaning on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to hit the game winner. Tonight, they needed to come out, I think especially early in this game, and set the tone. Being the aggressor, attacking the rim, and really trying to let the officials know, hey, we're here to play, we're here to be physical. And then usually when you set the tone early in the game like that, you'll get the benefit of the doubt from the officials and be able to get to the foul line. But they didn't do that tonight. They were unable to, really attack. And the Thunder, as the game went along, just continued to get those opportunities inside. They did a great job of getting to the foul line tonight, and that's where the game was won. The Blazers just didn't do enough at the foul line. They were plus 15 at the foul line again in back-to-back games, plus 15. The Blazers, 6 of 9 from the free throw line, and the Oklahoma City Thunder, 21 of 25. And that really was the difference in the game. And that's because they had multiple guys who were looking to attack and get after it. The Thunder only put up 24 threes tonight. The Blazers put up 36. Portland with a plus 18 advantage at the three-point line, but because of the Thunder's willingness to go inside, draw contact, and get to the line, that was a big difference. He didn't score 35 tonight, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander scored a team-high 27 points, 11 of 13 at the line. After going perfect at the free throw line on Monday, he set the tone. And they had multiple guys who were able to step up and really attack. Dort with 14 points tonight, 15 from Jalen Williams, and 13 from Josh Giddey. Both Chris and I were admiring his game. Thunder have a very nice young roster with a number of capable players who can score and get after it. And tonight for the Blazers, they had all 5 starters in double figures, but no one that really had the hot hand. No one that got it going or got it cooking at the right time, and that was the big difference tonight. It's the fifth quarter. Chad Doing along with Chris Burkhart. We're also live on YouTube, so you can join us on the in-studio stream if you'd like. Go to youtube.com and pull up Rip City Radio, and you'll see the live link right there on our homepage. And, of course, you can click to subscribe, and you can take part in the chat and be a part of the show that way, or you can jump on the phones right now at 503-248-0620. Thunder make it back-to-back wins over the Blazers. And now for Portland, they're going to have to do something they don't do very often. That's get a win in Denver against the Nuggets if they're going to even up the road trip at 3-3 and come back at 500. Let's go out to Bruce, who is in Portland. Bruce, appreciate the phone call. You're first up on fifth quarter. Fire away. What's up, Bruce?
Hey, can you hear me all right? I'm on my speakerphone.
Yeah, loud and clear, buddy.
Hey, both these games in OKC were both winnable games. You know, very, very frustrating watching the Blazers down the stretch, despite the foul discrepancy. You know, Portland tonight didn't score in the last 2.5 minutes of that fourth quarter of the game. Their execution down the stretch sucks. You know, they play really well team basketball wise through 3.5 quarters, and then they just go to hell in the last couple minutes of these games. You know, they stop movement. Dame, unfortunately, you know, as great a player and superstar as that guy is, he gets into ISO ball and everybody stands around watching. You know, and if he's not hitting, nobody else gets involved. You know, it's very, very frustrating. You know, their defense was a little better tonight. That sucked, you know, on game one a couple nights ago. But, you know, for all of this talk on Chauncey and his D and everybody's going to play better, I haven't seen it in the last, you know, several games. But, you know, it's a long season. They got a long way to go, man. But they've got to get their down the stretch closeout situation figured out because it is not working right now.
Well, you're right about that. Their execution in the final couple of minutes of a game is going to be critical, and that's where it's important. I think that's where the coaching comes in, and that's where, you know, the leadership comes in, guys doing what the coaches want them to do. But you got to continue to move bodies, move the basketball to get the best possible shots so that you're not putting Dame or Ant or someone in a situation where you're putting up a tough contested 3 or 2 in those type of situations. You got to get quality looks, and at the end of the game, the Thunder were the ones who were getting at the rim and getting easy buckets when it counted most.
Yeah, I mean, it was frustrating to watch tonight, you know, because they were clicking on all cylinders, and then like I said, that last dunk of Grant, that was their last basket in the game. 2.5 minutes to finish a game and not score, despite the free throw discrepancy. I mean, you're not going to win many games when you don't score in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, there's no question. Hey, Bruce, what about your Ducks today? How do you explain their prowess on the recruiting trail?
You know, I'm with this whole transfer portal thing. I've been talking to my kid about this whole thing. In the days of the freshman quarterback, I mean, losing Dante was a big blow, but the days of the freshman quarterback coming in and playing I think are long gone because you're going to have all these upperclassmen QBs entering the portal that aren't playing at other schools, and everybody's going to be moving around, you know, across the country. It's crazy, you know. It's like all one and done. It's hard to get players to commit, you know, but if you're good for 1 year, all we need is 1 year, baby. But with the NIL money and the transfer portal and the game is changing, but I think the Ducks are on their road if they can keep consistency in coaching too, you know, keep their offensive coordinator and D coordinators around. I think things look good, but, man, the Pac-12 has got some quarterbacks, man.
Dude.
It's going to be tough next year.
Yeah, it's going to be great, man. Bo Nix coming back, and you've got Penix going back to Washington. You got Caleb Williams at USC, and what if Oregon State were to grab DJ Uiagalelei, man? You would have the conference coming off a great year is primed for another strong season, which is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I'm just glad Bo's coming back. You know, but like I said, it's the days of your quarterback sticking around are long gone, I think, with this whole transfer portal. 2,000 kids entered the portal this year. I mean, that's crazy.
It's wild. It's the wild, wild west, Bruce. Well, I'm glad that the Trailblazers could frustrate you during the week, but you're right. They got to regroup and reset and continue to, focus on the details so they can execute better down the stretch.
Yeah, man, good talking to you, and have a good Christmas and a good holiday.
You too, Bruce. Merry Christmas. And there's Bruce in Portland. Been talking to that guy for a long time. Big Blazer fan, big Duck fan. He's a Northwest guy through and through. 503-248-0620. What's up, Burkhart? Good to see you again, buddy.
I just want to let you know that I was watching Twitter all day. This was me watching every single recruit that Dan Lanning got.
Up and let's go.
Dude, it's huge, man.
What a day.
What a day. I mean, seriously, like, what a day. If you're a Duck fan, like the Pac-12, and we were talking about the possibility of Oregon State maybe grabbing DJ, like the quarterback play in conference next year is going to be off the charts.
It's nuts.
It's nuts.
It's nuts. I mean, right now, like, Oregon State needs to hit the portal Goldbranson looked good in the bowl game, should improve with a nice offseason.
Yeah.
And they're heading into the next year right now, probably the third worst quarterback situation. And it's not as if Goldbranson was just completely awful. Like, honestly, for what they asked him to do, he was good.
Yeah.
He was good. But, stacked. Drew Pine went to Arizona State. UCLA got, it was Colin Schnee, or I can't remember how to pronounce his name, but out of Kent.
And Dante Moore, yeah.
Everybody's got quarterbacks, dude.
That's what it's all about. And you know what's great about quarterback play is it makes the football games so much better when you got quality QB play. That's where it's at.
Hey, no one argued that any team who had a good quarterback was, oh, man, that team's a good running back away from an extra win or a good wide receiver. But a team like Oregon State, they were an above-average quarterback away.
Dude, I was bummed to see USC go out and nab Dorian Singer from Arizona, too.
Yeah, that dude was a stud all year.
All year.
All year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I can't wait. I want college football season to start right now. I know we just finished up a season. Let's just roll it into another one right now.
I would love it. I'm down.
Oh, goodness. Let's go back out to the phones. How about our man Victor in Turkey? Victor, welcome back to the show, my friend. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you and all the staff over there, all your friends.
Oh, thank you.
I tell you, Sad, I'm really disappointed after 30 years that I'm watching the Blazer. Tonight, well, we celebrate Christmas here too, but I just feel so nausea that the way they played and they lost, because right now everybody looking at Blazer, they are not. They say, well, Blazer is a good team, but it's not the elite team. It's a mediocre team, and that's what we had, maybe a couple of years ago before Jamie Grant and Josh Hart come to the board. So with all this addition, I don't know what they're doing, man. I don't know what to say. I coach soccer games. I was a coach in soccer in the college and other teams. So I know a little bit about the sport, and the mentality is the same. Whether you play soccer or basketball, the mentality is the same. You see, like they make like Simon. They make him a defensive player. He's not He's not in gene. He's not in the DNA be a defensive player. That's what he got 5 fouls. They make him out to defend this guy, defend that guy. No, he's a shooter. He's an offensive player, like in soccer. So what I'm saying is, the coaching staff, they're doing the wrong decision. You see the Ant Simon, if you watch against Utah or Indiana, he was a superstar because they gave him green light, and Damian was on the bench, and he carried the team. They have to count on the Ant Simon. He's the best player on this team. I told you before, he's my favorite player, but he's the best player, and they give him green light. Go and shoot and shoot and shoot. I don't know how many shots he got, and then the Blazers, they're coming in passive games. Like if you look at the Shy, their best player of the Oklahoma City Shy, their best player.
Yes.
Last game, he only got 1 3-pointer. So he got 35 points from 2-point range. So the Blazers, they're playing the opposite. They go under the basket, whether it's a Damian or another guy, they go under the basket, they can make a 2-point, and they pass it to the 3-point shooter. And tonight, how many 3-point we got? Not too many. So what I'm saying, look at the other team, compare it with how they win. They are not doing the right. They are not doing the right. I'm a coach. I'm a sportsman. They're not playing the right way, man. And that's not good for their mojo, because what will happen? So okay, we lost this game. We're going to lose the other games, and they're looking at Blazers, not an elite team now. They're looking at if the Oklahoma City they can do this, other team they can do that too. Well, as I said, I'm very disappointed the way they play, man.
No, I understand, Victor, and I love your phone calls. Thank you so much. This team, they're still a work in progress, and the roster, I know people don't want to admit this, but the roster is incomplete. It's not where it needs to be. They need better players. They've got to look at continuing to add to the roster. They need better talent. And that's what it's going to come down to, because the problem is they don't have the scoring punch they need with their depth. And so you end up having to play Ant and Dame larger minutes than what you would like as a coaching staff. And then you end up putting guys in situations where you get into foul trouble. We saw that with Ant tonight. You mentioned it with the foul trouble, and he became a bit of a liability down the stretch because he was trying to stay in the game. He didn't want to pick up his sixth foul. But there's still work to do by Cronin to get this roster where it needs to be so it can be a more complete team. And they're making the most with what they've got, but, they've got some deficiencies. Let's go out to the Preacher. Let's see what he's got going on. Preacher, what's up, buddy? Welcome to the fifth quarter.
Hey, man. Have you been all my life? Gosh, so much to talk about. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Safe, fun holidays for all. Love Victor. I feel the disappointment. But before I go there, on the NIL, what do you think the NIL does to the Big Sky, like smaller colleges? And in regards to football, very quick question. Football, do you think more money towards this, just this makes football better?
Yeah, I think it's going to make the game better. I really do. Yes.
Okay, so you think better talent surrounded by better talent is going to make more points, more Hail Marys, more crazier moments? I just don't know about that. I think love for the game does. So I do have this really weird feeling like, okay, how much more can we pump into this and make this happen?
Well, I think what you got to remember is my guess would be, and again, I could be completely wrong, but you might agree with me that this wasn't the beginning of college athletes getting paid. It's been going on forever. It's just now in a situation where it's considered above board. So
I come from Portland State. Some people come from Big Sky from that area, and what does it do for that tier of football?
Well, nothing. I think the Big Sky will remain the Big Sky, and maybe with NIL, depending on the school, if they can put together, some type of collective, maybe they're able to grab a player or two that they wouldn't have otherwise. But I think the Big Sky will remain as is, with the same type of struggles that they've had, because obviously fundraising and having money and the facilities and everything else you need to attract recruits is always going to be a challenge for those schools, including Portland State.
Well, I listen to what you're saying, man. So with that, the Blazers really did let me down. Victor really let off a lot of steam and let it at that. When you watch, YouTube, and I do, and that's why, I can't wait to tune in on your channel.
Yeah.
But the situation, the controversy is, would you pick Lillard over this number one star in Oklahoma City? And when you're playing down to their level, it's almost a shame to hear that. And you're kind of like, what? Do you know who Lillard is versus this guy? Of course, it would be hands across that you would pick Lillard. But when you lose two games back-to-back, I'm like, man, I know we took him. I personally like the schedule of back-to-back games. It reminds me of baseball. I got my Dallas season ticket to my back-to-back game, which is, day after the next. So I'm curious how they respond in 48 hours. And I'll leave it at that. Happy holidays, Chad.
I appreciate it, buddy. Thanks, Preacher. Yeah, the Blazers got a chance to finish up the road trip. It's going to be a tough one in Denver. Never an easy place to play. The two worst road trips for Portland in their history are Utah and Denver. So we'll see what they can do, especially after the Nuggets took them out the last time they faced at Moda Center. Big game for Portland coming up on Friday. All right, let's get you up to date around the association.
The fifth quarter on 620 Rip City Radio presents the Scoreboard Report, brought to you by the Stadium Sports Bar and Grill, A-Lene's ultimate venue for sports fans every Monday night, featuring beer and wing specials and more.
All right, checking the NBA scoreboard. We have a couple of games that are in action right now. Second quarter in Sacramento, the Kings on top of the Lakers, 54-50. Harrison Barnes has 14 points. First quarter in Los Angeles. The Clippers out in front of the Hornets, 29-13. Portland will see the Hornets at Moda Center on the 26th. Paul George has 9 points early in that one. earlier finals, Cavs over the Bucks in Cleveland, 114-106. Donovan Mitchell, 36 points. In Philadelphia, the Sixers rout the Pistons, 113-93. Joel Embiid, a double-double, 22 points, 10 rebounds. Hawks fall at home to the Bulls, 110-108. DeMar DeRozan, 28 points, 6 boards. A final in Boston, the Pacers over the Celtics, 117-112. Tyrese Halliburton with 33 points and 8 assists. The Nets rout the Warriors tonight, 143-113, as the road woes continue for the Golden State Warriors. Kevin Durant, 23 points, 7 rebounds. James Wiseman had 30 points and 6 boards in the loss. Brooklyn, after a slow start to the year, now 20-12. Raptors 113, Knicks 106. Pascal Siakam, 52 points, 9 boards, 7 assists. That guy would be delicious in a Trailblazer uniform. The Magic topped the Rockets in Houston, 116-110. Paolo Banchero, 23 points, 13 rebounds. I mean, Banchero right now is the runaway rookie of the year. Got to be. Mavericks beat the Timberwolves in Minnesota, 104-99. Luka Doncic, 25 points, 9 boards, 10 assists. And, of course, in Oklahoma City, the Thunder over the Trailblazers, 101-98. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had 27 points and 6 rebounds. And that is your scoreboard report brought to you by A. All right, keep the phone calls coming, 503-248-0620. We'll come back on fifth quarter, and we'll continue to break it down as the Blazers fall in OKC tonight. Back-to-back losses to the Thunder. We're live on YouTube. If you want to join us on the YouTube stream, go to youtube.com, pull up Rip City Radio, and you'll see the live link right there on the homepage. We've also tweeted out a link as well. You can follow me on Twitter, @Chad, in Rip City. 101-98, the final Thunder over the Blazers. More of your calls next on the fifth quarter. All right, fifth quarter tonight. The Thunder over the Trailblazers, 101-98. Paycom Center down in OKC. Still trying to wrap my mind around the fact that the Thunder were plus 30 at the foul line in these back-to-back victories. They were the aggressor. They were rewarded for it, and that's what happens. And now Portland is going to need to grab a win in Denver Friday night against the Nuggets to even up the current road trip at 3-3. And I appreciate you. I didn't even notice it, but you can see in the YouTube video my brand new John Elway painting is in the background. It looks spectacular. It looks even better through the high-def cameras, Burkhart. Very nice. Very, very nice. Let's go out to Ken in Vancouver. Hey, Ken, appreciate the phone call. What's up, brother?
Hey, just out making some deliveries and working off the steam that I got fired up at those reject referees tonight. You said that they were the aggressors, but if you look at the raw data from Corey Jez, the aggression was equal on both sides. Yet one team was allowed to totally dominate the referee calls, while the other team just didn't get touched, apparently, by linebackers like Lou Dort. A matter of fact, Dame was fouled twice on the last play. They showed it on replay. I mean, it's ridiculous. 9 free throws. Shoot, the Blazers in 2 games were outshot at the free throw line by Shea Gilligan's-Island. I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, the guy's a good player, but he didn't shoot well in either game. And basically went to the foul line, what was it, between 2 games? I believe it was 28 times. I mean, come on, man. I don't usually go off on these refs, but it was a clown show by the referees tonight because we were aggressive. We just didn't get calls.
That's true. But when you're plus 30 over a team in 2 games, I mean, there's no doubt the Thunder attacked the basket more than any team in basketball. And I was just disappointed that tonight they weren't really aggressive from the start, because I wanted him to change the narrative there just a little bit, and they just couldn't get the job done. The other thing that was a problem, too, the execution down the stretch. You know, the Thunder did a better job of getting easier buckets at the point of attack at the rim, and the Blazers, had to put up some tough contested shots. So I didn't like the execution in the final couple of minutes.
No, but their execution on the whole was really good. 29 assists to what they have, 19. They moved the ball well, and, Dame didn't shoot the ball well, but let's stop this about Ant being the best player on the Blazers. Come on.
Well, who said that?
Let's stop that.
No, wait a second. Who said that?
Victor did. He said he's been going on this agenda that Ant's the best player on the Blazers now. So he said it again tonight. So let's just stop that. When Ant comes through like Dame has in a period of time, we'll find out, but not right now. So I'm just tired of an all-star, all-world player not getting respect like a youngster does. I'm just tired of
I don't know what happened to your phone there, Kenny, but that was somewhat bizarre there with your phone. Let me check here.
Got under the water.
NBA free throw attempt leaders. I think Dame's up there near the top in free throw attempts. Where's Dame? Where's Dame? Huh? Per game. Where's Dame? Is he down the line? Am I not seeing him? Giannis is at the top. Free throws attempted. Huh. Wow. And it must be because of his time. I can't see it. The way this list is put together, I'm trying to see what Dame averages per game. Can't find him. 503-248-0620. That is your telephone number. The Thunder over the Trailblazers tonight, 101-98. Kenny blames the officials. And what's your take on that, Chris? I just have a hard time blaming officials for why your team lost.
I have personally long moved on from blaming officials. Dwight and I had this conversation on the drive yesterday. I actually think the NBA officials might be some of the better officials among pro sports. They're not making as egregious of errors as some of the NFL calls are, like a wide receiver looking at the ref going, "Yeah, am I okay right here?" And the ref going, "Yeah," and then throwing a flag on him, right? I get it. I get there's bad calls, but this one's another one. Like it's outnumbered free throws, that's for sure. I think it's easy to just go in and say, "Oh, the calls were egregious." I just didn't really see it that way tonight.
Shoot, I can't find that number. I can't find Dame on the list, Burkhardt. I can't find him. What's that Star Wars line? I can't shake him. 503-248-0620. As I pointed out before, this season it's a flipping marathon. So you're going to have these type of nights. And the Blazers were right there and had a chance to win both games. And they just couldn't get over the hump for a variety of different reasons. But it's okay. They're going to bounce back, and they've got to right the ship, and they got to continue to tighten things up. I'm not trying to cover for them. They're just a work in progress. Work in progress. Trying to figure some things out defensively. They've got to continue to work on their offensive execution. It would be helpful if they had better scoring off the bench. It will take some time. Let's go out to, our man Dan in Southeast is there. What's up, Dan?
Man, happy holidays, Chad.
Oh, you too, buddy.
We were speaking under better circumstances. Tough loss, huh?
It was a tough loss. In fact, I looked at the road trip, and I thought, okay, they might drop one in Oklahoma City, but you can definitely get a split and put yourself in a position to get 4 wins on the road trip. But, for a variety of different reasons, they just didn't do enough to get the job done Monday or tonight.
Yeah, that's kind of the attitude I was taking as I realized, this was going to go down as an L. I'm like, maybe we've been drinking our own Kool-Aid with this team. But you just, in terms of, I've been talking to anyone who will listen, outside Portland, that they're sleeping on the Blazers and they're better than the record, and everybody thinks they're going to be around 500 and they're going to challenge for a playoff spot and this and that. And I look at it, and we're nearly halfway through the season. They're 2 games above 500. I'm like, yeah, maybe they're not. Maybe we're just have the Rose City colored glasses, and we think this. I mean, I don't want to go overboard. It's 1 game and whatever, but I'm certainly not going to blame the officiating. I'm like, that's the mark of a great team, is they're able to play through that and put the onus on the rest to make the call. And for whatever reason, it didn't happen tonight, and that's going to happen from game to game. But I don't know. It's just one that you're just going to have to put in the rearview mirror and look ahead. Because on the other hand, I'm like, we keep forgetting. It's been 2 months with a team that has 3 new starters and a coach who's got a full toolbox for the first time. I mean, it's like we've been saying all along, it's hard to judge Chauncey on the job he did last season. This is the real test of where he's at as a coach, and it's a work in progress. I think we still don't know exactly how good this team is. Maybe they don't know either. So yeah. There's going to be nights like this, and I'm like, on the one hand, I'm surprised. I thought I expected us to go 4-2 on this trip, and figured I was looking forward to be pleasantly surprised with the 5-1. Like, we lose to Denver, that's no surprise. We lose, out there. But I thought we might steal one against the Mavs and then drop one against the Rockets, because it's kind of a trap game, whatever. And instead, this is a 500 team with potential to be more, and we're going to have to see what that potential looks like.
Let's dig into that a little bit, because they got off to the quick start. They were 10-4, but now there's 32 games in, so we're approaching the midway point of the season. So I think maybe we're learning more about this roster, and I think while they're definitely improved from what we saw last year, and they're doing a lot of things much better than what we saw last year, things they needed to do defensively, they're making some strides, but I still think this is a roster that's, I'm trying to think of the best word for it. It's incomplete. Like, they still need to upgrade the roster, and there's some deficiencies, particularly with the bench scoring. So I think maybe what we're seeing right now, this is kind of what they are, 500 or just over that, right? I mean, maybe that is what they are as a basketball team right now.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And, to be quite fair, that's what all the pundits were saying going in. I mean, like, even, and I'm not just talking about, Stephen A. or whatever, but folks that get up in the morning and eat, sleep, and drink basketball all day. A lot of those folks whose opinion I really respect. I mean, they really know what's up, and they're like, yeah, I see this is, couple games over 500, maybe a little better if they catch some breaks in the schedule and whatever. And maybe they're right, you know. I guess I categorize the team as blurry right now because we don't know. But I kind of like to put to rest this idea that I've been as guilty as anyone of perpetuating that, hey, man, I can't wait till we get GP2 back. He's going to solve so many problems. But no, he's not. No, he's not. He's going to improve things. This is a bad defensive team. It was a bad defensive team. They've been, you know, it's no secret they've been bad for a while. But, you know, I thought that the positive strides we saw in defense early on the season, I was like, man, this is the tough stretch of the season. They're looking great. Yeah, maybe that was an anomaly. Maybe they're regressing a little bit, and this is going to be similar in some ways to teams we've seen in years past where they can light it up on offense and they're stinking it up on defense. But I will say, I don't want to end on a negative note. The one constant we've had all the way through, is that this team's been fun as hell to watch play.
Yeah.
They've been in competitive games. I can't tell you how many times I hear, man, are you watching this Blazers game? It's super good and everything. I was like, yeah, that's because it's Portland. They're awesome. They're fun to watch. They score tons of points. They make big plays. Shaden's amazing. Ant's release is out of control. Like, there's so many good things to enjoy about this team. And as we head into the holidays, I'm just going to focus on that. Fun games. Let's hope the team turns out to be something special. We'll see.
Yeah, you got it, man. I appreciate that phone call, buddy. Yeah, the Blazers going into tonight were, I think they're 24th in the league right now in defensive rating. And, yeah, it's just not good enough. You got to be better than that to really go out there and get the job done. That's all. You got to be better than that. And they know that, and that's where they're going to make the strides. And, you know, this roster still needs some improvement, some upgrade. There's no question about it. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. 503-248-0620. All right, let's go ahead and get you our shot of the night.
For the Nothing But Net Shot of the Night, here on the fifth quarter, 620 Rip City Radio. The Nothing But Net Shot of the Night is brought to you by Oregon Dungeness Crab. Sustainably harvested, uniquely delicious, and always wild. Oregon Dungeness Crab. Always sounds good for dinner.
The Blazers down one, and Dame will bring it across. 5:55 to play in the fourth. Lillard between the rings. In front of Gilgeous-Alexander. Gives it up to Johnson. Back to Dame. Screen comes to the left. Dame double team. Trap. Bounce pass to Johnson. He's open. Launches a three for the lead and buries it. Keon Johnson gives the Blazers a 91-89 advantage.
All right, 503-248-0620. We'll come back on fifth quarter, and we'll continue to take your phone calls. The Blazers, unfortunately, take the loss tonight. Back-to-back losses to the Thunder, and now we'll move on to the Mile High City and get ready for the Nuggets. That game coming up on Friday, tip-off at 6, and we'll have game day, Chris and I, starting at 3 o'clock here on 620 Rip City Radio.
Oregon Dungeness Crab presents Coach's Corner with Chauncey Billups.
That was big time.
Oregon Dungeness Crab, sustainably harvested, uniquely delicious, and always wild. Oregon Dungeness Crab always sounds good for dinner.
All right, the Blazers take another loss in Oklahoma City. Back-to-back losses to the Thunder tonight, 101-98. Let's check in with Blazers coach Chauncey Billups following the loss.
Coach, how would you describe fourth quarter for you guys tonight?
It was a tough go. Fourth quarter. Really hurt our rotation a little bit when Ant picked up that fifth foul. You know, you had to obviously sit him, and you had to bring Dame back a little earlier. You know, so I thought we looked a little tired at the end. You know, the last 2 or 3 minutes of the game, but you know, had the game right there. You know, we had it right there. I thought our execution wasn't too bad. You know, we turned the ball over too much. You know, again, turnovers come back and bite us. But, you know, shoot, you got to lead with 2 minutes left in the game, 2.5 minutes. You should feel good about it, you know.
What do you think of the shot that Dame got in the fourth quarter, his last shot that he got?
Oh, it was a tough shot. I thought he lost his balance on it and just had to heave something that was just kind of too late, you know. He was committed to it at that point. So, what a shot that I'm sure he loved, he liked, but I felt like he lost his footing on it.
It seemed like a lot of similarities with this game and the last game. Do you agree with that or not?
I don't agree with that. I think last game, you know, our defense wasn't very physical. I thought we played very physical on the defensive end tonight. They didn't get to the basket as much, you know. At least it didn't feel like we played very physical. We showed some resistance in the game, you know. So I do think that this game and the game before was very different from my perspective.
Free throws. SGA shot more free throws than the Blazers did as a team.
In the first half.
The first half, I think in total.
Yeah. In the first half, he had more free throws than we had in the whole game. That really doesn't happen with us, you know. 9 free throws for the whole game. We attack all night, you know. But I guess we didn't get fouled tonight.
Just in general, you got one more game left on this trip in Denver. Obviously, a very good team. What do you guys need to do to try to go in and get that one tomorrow?
We just got to stay focused and committed to what we're doing, you know. We played them a couple weeks ago in a very, very tough game, a heartbreaking loss. Obviously, we still haven't forgotten about that. We get a chance at them again, you know. Get the guys, get a little bit of rest, and be ready to go on Friday.
Since you mentioned kind of the way that ended, it seems like that's happened quite a bit lately. You had the game, obviously, versus Thunder, obviously the one versus the Clipper game as well. Is it just a situation where you win some of the close ones and sometimes you don't, or is it execution? Or?
We've been on both sides of it. Sometimes the ball bounces your way. Sometimes it doesn't, you know. We had one of the best shooters in the history of the game, wide open, up 1. Damian Lillard in his spot. He just missed a shot, you know. It's his money all day. He makes that shot every day. So, it just happens. A bad bounce here or there. It was a play that came off, and the ball bounced, you know, like a hard bounce right through Nurk and Josh. They get the ball. You know, they get, you know, so it's just bad bounces. It just happens, but we've been on the flip side of that as well, where we get a bounce that goes our way, we end up winning a close game. So it's just the ebbs and flows of the NBA season, man.
Were they doing that post-game press conference in a storm drain somewhere in the middle of Oklahoma City? What a disaster.
Oh, in Houston, Chad, I'm pretty sure that they had a mosquito problem and they had Coach Billups next to a bug zapper because there was just the entire time. It was so bad.
Oh, my gosh. That reminds me, I went to Madagascar once, and, you know, I had to get, well, you go over there, you worry about mosquitoes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I had to sleep in this weird setting, but I had these mosquito nets all around. And then the guy next to me was wearing, like, the Darth Vader mask for his sleep apnea. Let's just put it this way. I did not sleep well on the trip. I got Darth Vader next to me with the mosquito nets around. Ugh.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like fun.
We used to have those out in Oklahoma when I was younger, growing up out in the country.
Yeah.
Have those lights.
Oh, yeah.
Where they fly into it and electrocute themselves.
Every once in a while. Yeah, we had them over there, like my mom's cabin over there in central eastern Oregon there. Every once in a while, like, oh, that was a big one.
All right, so we got some stats.
Well,
we do have some
stats. First off, we got to give credit where credit's due. Dan in Southeast called back in after the call and brought this stat, and I told him I'm tired of him calling in and stealing my thunder because I had done the research too, but, he tried to beat me to it. But thanks to Dan here, Damian Lillard does right now, he's averaging
just over
7.6 free throw attempts. I don't think he's had enough to make the total, but when you factor that in, that puts him in 12th in the league right now at 7.6. So there's that.
And if he hadn't have missed multiple games, he would likely be in the top 10 in free throws attempted per game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
so Dame's finally one of those guys who's getting the respect from the officials.
Yeah, I think you could argue that definitely. That 7.6 that he's at right now is the second highest of his career. His highest is a 7.8. So, he's getting the calls. Now, he also had a call from Ken, who sounded like he was underwater at the end of his call, but he called back in, said his best friend lives in Denver, and the temperature dropped about 20 degrees on his ride home, and they're projected tomorrow to have a high of like -7, a low of -17, and a -50 when you factor in the wind chill. So that's what the Blazers are flying into, leaving Oklahoma City. So we're not the only ones, obviously, if you pay attention to the weather reports, dealing with some cold weather on the horizon.
The weird thing about I lived in Denver too, and the weird part is like you would have this time of year you would get some snowstorms that were ridiculous, and then like the very next day it could be like 54 and sunny outside. Bizarre weather. All right, so Denver coming up on Friday. That's gonna be a tough game, and the Nuggets are good. Nuggets are really good. In fact, let's take a look at the NBA standings right now. In the Western Conference, Denver and Memphis tied atop the West with records of 19 and 11, followed by the Pelicans, who are one game back at 18 and 12. The Suns, a game back at 19 and 13. The Clippers are fifth in the West right now at 18 and 14. The Sacramento Kings, 16 and 13, 2.5 back. The Blazers and Jazz are 3 back. Portland at 17 and 15. Utah at 18 and 16. And both the Mavericks and Timberwolves are 9 and 10, 4 games back with the same identical records of 16 and 16, followed by the Warriors, Thunder, Lakers, Spurs, and the worst team in the West right now, the Rockets. Atop the Eastern Conference, it's Milwaukee at 22 and 9, Boston at 22 and 10. Both those teams lost tonight. Boston lost a game at home to Indiana. Milwaukee lost to Cleveland. The Cavs third in the Eastern Conference at 22 and 11. And don't look now, but the Brooklyn Nets are 20 and 12, 2.5 back in the East. They've won 7 straight games, 9 and 1 in their last 10. And suddenly they are playing some good basketball. Let's go out to Chris in Portland. Chris, appreciate the phone call. Welcome to the fifth quarter.
Thanks. Love your show. And just calling to, I heard a caller earlier say that GP3 wouldn't make a big difference. And I think that could be our one piece. People talk about us being 1 or 2 pieces defensively away, and he is a championship defender. I'm excited to see what happens.
I think what Dan was saying in Southeast about GP2 is that he'll make a difference, but it's not the end-all, be-all, meaning right now they're about 24th in the league in defensive rating, so he'll help, but they're more than just one player away from really becoming, a top 5, top 10 NBA defense that you want to have to be able to compete for a championship.
I also think Little being out is a big factor there, too, because he's a legitimate 3, and we don't have a lot of those on the team. They're playing hard out of position, in my opinion.
Well, he is out of position. He's undersized. And right now, one of the glaring weaknesses on this team is that they don't have a legitimate starting 3. That's the problem. Now, if Hart were starting at the 2 and you had a more legitimate 3 with better length and a guy that could really knock down the shot and stretch the defense, it would put the team in a better position. But the problem is with Hart, as good as he is, he's undersized at the 3, and it puts the Blazers at a disadvantage defensively on most nights.
Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah, it's an issue, and it's, they ran into the same problem last year. Remember Norman Powell, Dame, and CJ. I mean, 3 very good players, but when you're undersized, it makes it harder to defend, especially depending on matchup with some teams that have better length.
I agree. I do still think that our biggest weakness that's being exploited is at the guard spot, and I think Gary Payton will really help with that.
Yeah, he can be in, especially in some of those end-of-game situations where we've seen them struggle. Having GP2 out there who can, provide great on-ball pressure because he's a great on-ball defender. He'll help out in some of those situations that we've seen at the end of games. Like, for instance, the end of the game, just a little over a week ago against Denver when Jamal Murray got that 3 off at the end of the game.
Yeah, or the one a couple days ago, too.
Yeah. When Shea put Justice Winslow on the spin cycle. Yeah, that was tough.
Barry would be on Shea in that situation.
I would think so. Yeah, because of his ability to defend.
Yeah. And hopefully be another voice in making defense a priority. I know, obviously, that's something the team wants, but I think having the right voices on the floor makes a big difference.
Oh, there's no doubt. In fact, you know what? Chris Burkhart's talked about this throughout the year, that he believes, and I'm with him on this, that when GP2 gets involved and starts playing and becomes a regular part of the rotation, that he'll become the defensive quarterback because he understands defense as well as anyone, and he can really direct traffic out there and make sure people are where they need to be. That's going to be helpful.
Exactly, and I think if you told me in September that we would have seen the flashes of defense we've already had and GP2 wouldn't have played yet and we'd have the record we had, I'd be pretty happy. I think there's we were hot in the beginning and there's been some tough losses, and I think, 10 points of difference, 5 points of difference in a game makes a big difference in the record, and he can provide that on the defensive end, and is that's why he's here, right? So
yeah, there's no question. I appreciate the phone call. Good thoughts, and health is critical. I still want to see this team 100% healthy. Hopefully they can get to that point where you have Nasir, you've got GP2, you got the rest of the guys, and we get a chance to really get a good look at the group and see what they can do. That's critical. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number, 503-248-0620. You can jump on the phones. You can join us on the YouTube live stream. Go to youtube.com, pull up Rip City Radio, and you'll see the live link there on the homepage. Let's get to our drive of the night here on Fifth Quarter.
It's time for the Portland Trailblazers Drive of the Night, here on the Fifth Quarter, hosted by Chad Dewing, 620 Rip City Radio. Drive of the Night is brought to you by Dick's Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram of Wilsonville, ready to compete with the lowest prices in town.
Blazers in front by 1 with 3:35 to play. Hart across the timeline. Gives it up. Here's Nurk straight away. Back to with one dribble. Rifles a pass to Grant, who turns and dunks it in. Timeout, Thunder. What a pass from Yusuf Nurkic. Saw Jeremy Grant right there in front of Isaiah Joe. And the Blazers lead at 96-93 with 3:26 to play.
And that is your drive of the night here on Fifth Quarter. Let's go back out to the phones. 503-248-0620. My man Charlie is there. What's up, Charlie?
Chad, how are you doing tonight?
Very well.
Come on, that hurt, didn't it? That's a tough loss. 2 in a row, 2 close ones. It's hard to buy Chauncey's. Well, the season just rolls like that. Oh, that hurts. Anyway, I heard you say to the last caller that, again, the thing we all agree on is that 3 is our weak spot. But I will not agree with that. What hurts us defensively. I think that's what you guys were saying was the 3 is our weak spots defensively because we're undersized and teams exploit that. I see teams exploiting our 1 and 2. Now, maybe I'm missing something, but I've never seen guys break down Josh Hart or guys post up Josh Hart consistently the way it was, who was it? R2, Simons got beat straight line drive tonight. I don't care if you got 5 fouls. Get your 6th foul. Don't let that guy drive in and do you know what I'm talking about in the middle of the fourth quarter? Straight line drive to the bucket.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Kills me.
And the straight line drives have been killing me for like 4 or 5 years here in Portland. Here's the thing. Josh Hart is not a weakness defensively. Here's the problem.
No.
When you make the decision as a franchise to play Dame and Ant or Dame and CJ in the backcourt, where you have two relatively undersized guards who aren't great defenders, then what you need is you ideally would like to have, like Jeremy Grant's long, right? And that's very helpful. Having a longer wing to provide better support to your backcourt that's subpar defensively would be more helpful at times. So that's what it comes down to, because what happens is that when you start out the game with Dame, Ant, and Hart, three guys who are undersized for their positions, then that puts you at a disadvantage depending on which team you're playing in the matchup, because a lot of these teams have more length at those spots. That's the issue. But to your point, Hart is not a weakness defensively. The guy's everything you want. He's a dog. He gets after it, and I love that about him.
Exactly. I appreciate you noticing that, too, and I appreciate the people being able to hear that. Cool. That's awesome. What's going to happen when they fly into Denver, though? I mean, are we going to be able to fly into Denver? When you fly into Denver when there's 15 degrees below zero, and I mean,
they can
can
fly
anybody
into Denver.
fly?
Yeah, they can fly into Denver, only because places like that are, I mean, unless it's like an absolute blizzard where they just can't do it if it's dumping too much snow. But those places, because they're used to dealing with that type of weather, they're more They're more prepared to deal with that as an airport, as a community, when it comes to snow, because they get it all the time.
That kind of makes sense. Kind of like Chicago. Okay, I get
now,
it.
You would think here in Portland, with as much rain as we get, people would be more equipped to drive better in the rain, but that doesn't appear to be the case here for some reason.
Chad, you have to add a brain to that, too, and we don't often drive with a brain. I mean, people. It's going to be slick after it was 85 degrees and then it rains. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
You know what I'm saying. All right, buddy. Talk to you after the next game.
All right, you got it, buddy. There's Charlie. Hey, wait a second. Did Charlie and I just have a friendly conversation, even involving Josh Hart? Is that possible?
Hey, Charlie knows. Charlie knows. He came in soft today.
He knows.
He gave it to me on the phone, and then he's like, he goes, I love him. He goes, I know I'm going to say this, but then you're just going to go back Chad, because that's what you do. Charlie.
Dude, the one thing
I
that's
love
great,
you as much as Chad does.
No, here's the thing. Like, you and I we don't back each other. If we disagree, we disagree. And if we agree, we agree. Like your take on GP2 being the defensive quarterback, I totally agree with you on that.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, trust me, guys. Most of it happens off air, but I have had chat. Are you nuts?
Yeah.
It happens.
No, but that's what's great. Is like we're no different than any other. We're no different than two guys sitting at the bar having a conversation. Like there are times where we agree, and there's times like, come on, man, what are you talking about?
Yeah, we can agree on one thing though. MJ's greater than LeBron.
No, there's no question. No question. Preston's crazy. He is insane. Oh, my goodness. All right, let's keep things up. We got drive of the night. We got shot of the night.
We haven't done a scoreboard update, have we?
We did.
We did?
We got a scoreboard report in.
Oh, man, then we're looking good.
We're on top of things. All right. And we got Chauncey Billups in.
We did.
All right. We'll come back and we'll continue to react and look ahead to what's coming up on Friday. Blazers take the loss tonight, 101-98. Back-to-back losses to the Thunder. It does suck. There's no doubt about that. Charlie's right about that. But a chance to get right, because I'll tell you what, you drop back-to-back games in Oklahoma City, but if you finish out the road trip in Denver, get a W, and come back 3-3, that's a win. You got the fifth quarter.
City, this is Chauncey Billups. You are without a doubt the loudest fans in the NBA. Want tickets to the next home game?
Dumped up to Nurkic. Is it to Anthony Simons, who cuts now, brings it back to the free throw line, does a U-turn, scoops it up and puts it through.
Rip City, your Portland Trailblazers are setting out to defend home court when the Charlotte Hornets come to town on Monday, December 26th. Wrap up the holiday season with your Blazers and cheer alongside the best fans in the league. Get your tickets at trailblazers.com.
Let's go, Rip City.
All right, what's the latest, Burkhart? Are we going to have some type of ice apocalypse on Thursday night going into Friday morning or what? What do you think is going to happen here?
I think we live in the city of Portland, which means there's only two options. They are either way off and it's just going to rain and there's no ice, or there's going to be about twice as much ice as they predicted. There's no middle ground.
Yeah, and what a pain. You know, it's weird as you get older, like, I'm sure just like your kids, and my daughter's like, oh, yeah, let it snow, let it snow. She wants snow days. She wants to miss school. She wants a white Christmas. You get older, and all you see with that is hassle.
Yeah.
Roads are messed up, can't get to work. How's the station going to run? All these different problems flow through your mind.
Yeah.
Totally different ball game when you're older.
Yeah, and now I'm old, so I go out there and play with them in the snow. I'm like, can we go inside? I'm cold now. No, Dad. I can't feel my face, but I'm having fun.
All right, let's go out to the phones. Let's see who we got here. How about Josh Baker? What's up, Josh? Welcome back to the fifth quarter, buddy.
What's up? How you doing?
What's up, man? Merry Christmas.
Well, Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you.
And hopefully Friday we get a win. I fly out tomorrow, and I'll be there.
That's right. You think you're going to be able to get out? What's the latest on your flight information?
Everything from Delta saying that I'm flying out. I'm flying out. Don't think it's supposed to be too bad at that time.
Yeah.
And then Saturday coming back looks like Saturday's going to warm up everywhere. Even Denver says like 45 on Saturday. So I think I should be good to not have any delayed flights or missed flights.
Which part of town are you staying in? Downtown?
Downtown. I'm going to be like 4 blocks from the arena.
Oh, good. Very nice. That's the way to do it. I went back for a Rockies-Dodgers series in the summertime, and I stayed in downtown, and I just walked to and from the park. That's the best way to do it. That's convenient.
I don't know if I'll be walking. I don't know. It's gonna be -6 tomorrow. That'll be the coldest I will have ever been in. That's gonna be wow. Not looking forward to that, but hey, it's going to be a fun 2-day trip.
That's going to be great, dude. I'm just glad you're going to be there to take it in. And I've, I listen to a lot of Denver radio because I follow the Broncos. The atmosphere should be good. They've had, with the Christmas break and people having time off and stuff like that, the arena, I guess, has been pretty legit lately in terms of Nugget fans showing up and packing out the place. So it should be a good environment for the game Friday against Portland. Big Western Conference.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I think I've been there one time before. It was the Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals. I actually went out to that game. There's quite a few of us that actually went out to that game. But, yeah, so this will be my second game going to Denver to see the Blazers.
I would imagine the tickets for the game Friday night much cheaper than the Game 7 Western Conference semifinals.
just a little bit. But, hey, again, I didn't pay for the ticket. One of my TikTok subscribers just said, hey, you make your way out here, and you can go with me. So I was nice enough. I was like, hey, if you don't live in Denver, I'll get a hotel. You guys crash at the hotel with me, and you don't have to, drive to and fro. And so he said that was generous, and thank you. So there we go.
Boom, man. Well, dude, I hope you have a good time. And what you got to do on Friday, you got to call in after the game to the fifth quarter and give us a live report from Denver.
Oh, I will definitely do that. You know me. Come on. Well, again, you guys have a good night, and stay safe here on the icy roads, guys, okay?
All right, you got it, man. You two have a fun trip to Denver. There's Josh Baker going to be on the road in Denver for the game on Friday night. All right, what do we got here? Someone's saying, I don't understand this talk here. My man Kerry James saying, maybe if 620 wasn't the Blazer station, they could speak the truth.
Yeah, because the comment before that, they said that Jokic is greater than Dame. And that's why I commented in there, like, yeah, because we're over here just praising Dame is better than the two-time defending MVP, who's one of the best players in the history of the game. Granted, Dame is too, but, I mean, Jokic is better than Damian Lillard, y'all. That's not questionable, really.
Yeah, if you were to choose one player to start your franchise with today, you're picking Jokic over Dame.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely love Dame. That's how they like to say it. If we pick Jokic, it means that we don't like Dame. But no, Jokic, dude, the dude's an MVP, and he's a legit MVP.
Yeah. Here's the one thing, and this is absolutely true. Before I came back to work at this station, because I knew I was coming back to work for the Blazer station, and I had a conversation with my boss, and I'm like, okay, I want to be there, and I want to be close to the team and get a chance to provide coverage, but am I going to be prevented from being able to speak my mind? And he's like, no. You can say whatever you want. He said, as long as you keep it to X's and O's and things that you can back up with data and you don't take personal cheap shots, then you're fine. And I was like, okay.
You know what's funny is
I've never once been told what I can or cannot say, ever.
You know what's funny, though, is like teams try to protect their players from that, right? And they don't like when their TV partner or radio partner talks bad. But I've been in situations where, like, I've listened to players get upset with a reporter or something, and literally they only get mad if you are taking cheap shots. Like, if you're talking X's and O's and actually trying to back it up, most players don't care. Like, if you're right or wrong, they're like, at least they're trying to make a valid argument. They're not just taking pot shots, you know?
Yeah, like if I were to come out and say, oh, yeah, this guy's a bad father, or this guy isn't good to his family members, and I have no way of knowing if that's true or not, that'd be taking a cheap shot. But, I mean, who owns the team? Jody Allen?
Yeah.
I think it's absolutely insane that Jody Allen owns the team, and she's never once spoken publicly to anyone. How can you take over the team from Paul Allen, who is a great owner, and not say a word publicly to anyone, ever? I think that's insane, and I think she's ridiculous for doing it. I also think it's absurd that Burt Cold, the man operating in the shadows, the Blazers chair and the Seahawks chair, never has to speak or be held accountable for any of his decision-making, and he's the one pulling the strings.
Yeah.
I think that's insane, and I think Burt Cold running your franchise is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, you could have the opposite end of the spectrum, too. I mean, if Jerry Jones owned this team, he would have been in Oklahoma City and held a press conference for the media after the game.
Good. Yeah, I mean, it's, I share my opinion.
Yeah. But, hey, Han in King City says, calls Carrie out and says, Chad has always been honest with his opinion. Don't speak on it if you don't know.
Yeah.
I just think that one's funny. Like, oh, we won't speak the truth about Jokic. Like, come on.
Yeah. Now, if you work for a team, like if you're a Trailblazer team employee, there's probably things that you want to avoid saying.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's the decision they have to make if they're going to be a team employee.
But it's a little bit different. I mean, your checks are signed by the same person. You know what I mean? Like, you work under that same umbrella.
I am not paid by the Portland Trailblazers.
I've always hated that because I lived it working in TV with a station that owned their rights. Like, oh, you're only saying that because you're the TV partner. I'm like, no, I'm saying it because it's what I believe. Like, come on. And, oh, you don't talk bad about anybody. Yeah, I do. I know I talk bad about them because when I do, y'all light up my DMs like crazy, like I'm an idiot.
Yeah. I'm the same guy that came out and said Drew Eubanks was a bum before the year began.
You did say that. You did say that.
And he's not. I'm totally wrong. The guy's been great all year. So I was wrong on that, but I shared my opinion.
Yeah. See, I don't come out and say that. It's harder to bounce back. Brian Noe always picked on me when we were at NBC. He's like, oh, the Blazers pulled off a trade. I'm sure Burkhart loves it. Burkhart loves everything. Everything they do is the best trade ever. Like,
that's how he talks, too.
It is.
Let's go out to Troy in Vancouver. Troy, what's up, buddy? Welcome to the show.
Hey, just a couple things real quick. First, I wanted to make sure I got a chance to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
You too, buddy. I'm glad you called in. I haven't talked to you in a couple of weeks, so it's great to hear your voice. Merry Christmas, Troy.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Hey, real quick, I was listening to something the other day, and they were talking about the Broncos, and a name came up. I'm real curious. Is there a Gary Kubiak's son or relative on the staff?
Yeah, Clint Kubiak is on the Broncos staff right now, and
Clint
Kubiak. Over the last few weeks, he has taken over the play calling from the Dum head coach, and he's been calling plays. So Clint Kubiak is currently on the Broncos coaching staff. Yep.
Oh, okay. Because I didn't hear all that. I remember them saying Clint Kubiak, and Gary is a great guy. I actually, I told you I called on John Steelers in the 90s.
Yep.
And I actually got to meet Gary.
Oh, how cool was that?
And
was he cool?
He was really well. I got lucky enough to get to go to a game, and I spent the first half. I got to be up in the suite, and then they had seats down along the 50-yard line, and there was a couple people that wanted to come up to the suite. So they were asking who wanted to go down to the seats. Well, I volunteered, and I knew it was cold, but I didn't realize that every portion of my body was going to be frozen to the seat at Mile High.
Yeah, that's great, man.
It was a great experience. But, yeah, I heard that name, and I thought, well, God, at least there's a,
Yeah, Coop. Yeah,
quality,
the younger Coop is there. Yep.
Yeah, maybe they can keep him and get rid of the obvious.
Well, the early reports are, I mean, he's done a pretty good job of calling plays, and he appears to have a pretty good connection with Russ. The one thing for certain, whether it's Denver or somewhere else, Clint Kubiak's got a definite future in the NFL, and just like Shanahan's son Kyle, it doesn't hurt to have a dad who was kind of an offensive genius.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just surprised to hear that name because I didn't realize anybody was still, I didn't realize his son or, if he had any connection to the team or anything.
Yep. No, it's true.
All right. Well, you have a good one.
You too, buddy. Appreciate it, Troy. There's Troy in Vancouver. You got any final thoughts on what went down tonight, Burkhart? I mean, I do believe that. If they win the game in Denver on Friday, 3-3 on the road trip, that's it. 500 is always a good number on the road trip.
Yeah, it's tough because you always want to say 500 is a good road trip, right?
Yeah.
And so you did what you were supposed to do in that regard, but the fact that the road trip included 3 agonizing losses, one that was just a blowout against Dallas, and then 2 games against Oklahoma City that really Oklahoma City is a decent team, but losing one is understandable. Dropping both is kind of inexcusable, honestly.
It's true.
So that one makes it not the exact same 500 trip. It's a 500 trip, but a sour-tasting 500 trip.
See, going into the road trip, this is how I thought it would go. You beat San Antonio, and you beat Houston. You split with Oklahoma City, and you lose to Denver. That's how I thought it would go, 3-3. I did not anticipate back-to-back losses to Oklahoma City And while I don't expect them to beat Denver, if they do, then 3-3 is what I expected going in, and if that's what they get coming out, then I'm cool with that. But see, that's the problem is I don't think they're going to beat Denver. I think they're going to lose that game and finish out 2-4, and then that's a crap road trip.
Yeah, that's a pretty brutal.
Because then it's a road trip where you get whacked by Dallas, lose back-to-back irritating games to Oklahoma City, and get worked by Denver. That's not good.
Yeah.
But 3-3 with the win at Denver, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and you're going to get road team calls on this one. So this is probably the game where Yusuf Nurkic picks up like 2 fouls in the first 3 minutes, and then Jokic goes to work. And
yeah, Nurk has his better games against Jokic in Portland, not Denver.
Yes, that's for sure. That's for sure. And I think the Orb on our YouTube chat kind of points out a good point. He said Cronin wasn't lying when he said we were not ready when the season started. And if you remember correctly, Cronin did say that. He basically said, we're not contenders yet. We still got some roster work to do.
Yes, he knows that.
Yeah.
So Cronin does not look at this roster and think, this is it.
Yeah.
No, he understands that right now. My guess would be, obviously, he knows this roster is far from complete. I also think he probably looks at it and thinks they're over it. I don't think he expected them to be 17 and 15, 32 games in. That'd be my guess.
Yeah.
They're overachieving even maybe to what he thought. But no, this team is nowhere near where they need to be.
Yeah.
And that's why you can't get too frustrated when they lose a couple of games or drop back-to-back games you don't see coming in Oklahoma City. That's what this team is right now.
Yeah. Which is where you also understand, too, like if Gary Payton has taken the long road back, I mean, maybe this is a guy you're looking at in year 2 and year 3 when you're really got your roster where you want it to be. And now you have that true defensive guy. And is there ways to upgrade without, losing Josh Hart along the way? Because I think you and I have talked about it. I think that would be ideal. But as, people have pointed out, like if you want something nice, you're going to have to give up something nice. And Josh Hart is, a nice piece to dangle because I think there's a lot of teams that would want that on their team. So, yeah, Cronin has some work to do, but at least he knows it. At least he knows it.
All right, that's going to do it for us. Big thanks to all of you. Hey, what is today? Oh, we still have Friday. I was going to wish everyone a Merry Christmas.
Hopefully.
Oh, yeah, Friday's going to be dicey. We hope to be here on Friday, and if we are, which we anticipate being here, we'll have game day starting at 3, and then tip-off against the Nuggets at 6. That's on Friday. We appreciate your phone calls. Big thanks to all of you for jumping on board the YouTube live stream and being a part of the chat. And be sure to go to youtube.com, pull up the Rip City homepage, and you can subscribe. I think that's going to do it for us. Chris waving goodbye. All right, your final score tonight from Paycom Center in Oklahoma City, the Thunder over the Trailblazers, 101-98. For Chris Burkhardt, I'm Chad Doing. Have a good night, my friends. We'll talk to you later.